world is like totally closer than you think, okay? Well, I wouldn't be here if I was lying to you, would I? Because, let's face it, I'm not real. You think I'm Georgia, but I'm not. My name is Poland, or you can call me Felix. Either way. And I am from the anime world. I am from Axis Powers Hetalia. But you probably haven't heard of that one. You've probably heard of, let's see, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, you know, the more common ones that went straight to the cartoon shows that you see in the mornings. But there's some of those, let's say they're not exactly the best ones. And first, most of them have to go to for kids because some parts have to be cut out. Did you know that the original Dragon Ball Z was cut out so much that basically, do you remember the character Master Roshi? He was seen as an old man who always helped Goku or Gohan train up all their things. I have seen the original uncut version. In that, he would only ever teach them anything if Bulma showed her boobs. True story. But so let me ask you one question. How much anime do you know? Give me some. Titles, names.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Fruits Basket. Naruto? Yes, Modern High School Host Club? Yeah. Okay, let me show you a few those types of anime, the one that you see on the TV, that are already in English and you don't have to go on the internet to look them up, are called mainstream anime because everybody knows about them. The examples include Naruto, or in this case, Naruto Shippuden, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, Vampire Knight, Death Note. You probably know some of those, but how many do you not know? Let's see if you can tell me, what is this one? Anyone?
Pokemon.
That way, no. Yes, it starts with I. Fine, no one can tell. This is called Inuyasha, which technically means dog demon in Japanese. It's an okay anime, I guess. However, the storyline gets a little bit repetitive because they're all after the pieces of this little jewel that shattered thanks to that stupid girl on the bike. But they think the biggest downfall for that was because they kept reusing the same bad guys over and over again. Her best example is that girl with the giant boomerang on her back up there. She had a little brother who died, and then some person reincarnated him and made him into his little slave to keep on fighting them. And as soon as he appeared, they basically defeated him in one episode, and then only just 2 episodes later, he was back for more! And it was always the same thing over again, and that's why I lost the plot there. Anyway, someone's already mentioned this one, but this one is Fruits Basket, which is about this girl who ends up living with a family who are all, where everyone has to turn into an animal of the Chinese zodiac, plus cats. Then there's Full Metal Alchemist, which is what I think is one of the best animes out there. If you're going to start watching something, look something up on the internet, look up that one. It's serious and it kicks ass. And don't call that kid short, he will murder you. Then this is my one, Hetalia. And it's not exactly the most serious thing in the world. Oh, look, there's me. Because I'm just, well, let's say it does teach you some history, like Georgia, before she watched it, she had no idea that back in the days of knights and medieval castles, me and my best friend here, Lithuania, were once, you could say, married in what was known as the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. That was until we got, we totally got attacked by Russia and he took him away. But screw that. It's crazy, and it is full of, and the English version is full of swearing and gay jokes, but it's just, that's basically what we are. We're just complete and utter historical crap. This is Solio, which is, you could say it's a little common, but it's still one of my favorites, even if it's a little basic in the storyline. Best part about it, you have people who transform into weapons. If I didn't have to be a country like fallen like I am, I would want to be in that world, and I want to be like that girl, the pigtails, Maka, because her little white-haired friend there, he turns into a scythe, and she kicks ass with a scythe. Who doesn't want that? Your best friend who's also your weapon. Then there is this one, which is a little darker, but a little weird. If you don't know how to say that, that's Kuroshitsuji, which translates to Black Butler. In Black Butler, you have this boy, Seattle Phantomhive, this little rich kid in Victorian England, who had his family killed and his whole mansion burnt down, and because by some crazy religious cult, which was led by a crazy angel, who sold his soul to a devil who would help him get revenge in exchange for his soul by the end of it, and that happens to be his butler, who can do anything. He really can. He can kill a whole army with cutlery. Now, let's compare some of these cartoons to the Western movies, shall we? Look at Peter Griffin. Look at that fat bastard. Now look at me. I mean, come on. I look awesome. Now look back to him. Now back to me. Back to him. Back to me. Sadly, he isn't me. But he tried to be like me. It didn't work out so well. But you can say that Western culture is trying to catch up to Japan in this case. This show you may have heard of when you were younger. This is Totally Spies. So ask yourself, what do you think? Is it anime? Or is it just regular cartoon? Come on.
Cartoon.
You're right. But would you ever guess that it was an attempt at anime? But not by America. By France. Yes, Totally Spies is a completely French show. I think it's still going on, and they've tried to copy anime, but let's say there's only so much you can do with teenage Valley Girl spies who fall into pitfall traps all the time. And this is America's closest ever attempt at anime. They even made a movie of it, and it was terrible. But some say it's so close to anime that it's even considered that way. Like, even if you look through like an anime or manga section, you might see on like some site, you might see this listed there, even though it's not real anime. It's made by Nickelodeon. And you could say that what the Western world is doing to Japan is a form of colonialization. They're taking their cartoons and saying, they're cool, let's make more of our cartoons this way, but we won't credit you because it's our new style. Suck it. Which is wrong, because sometimes the Japanese know what they're doing, even though sometimes you get a series that is full of panty shots and boobs. They even have ones like that in the library, would you believe it? So, and also, anime isn't exactly what you'd say a small thing anymore. When George's sister was younger, she liked anime, but she had a bit of trouble making friends because, well, really nobody else did. It was unheard of. These days, it's everywhere. In the high schools, it's created a new stereotype called the otaku, which is Japanese for obsessed fan. And they always say things like, oh my god, that guy makes my cocoa go doki doki, which or it's like, oh